You know that sinking feeling when you've done everything to show her you care, yet it feels like she's slipping further away? The calls go unanswered, the messages left unread, and no matter how much effort you pour into fixing things, it only seems to push her further. But here's the hard truth: chasing her isn't the answer. In fact, giving her the distance she's subconsciously craving might be the very thing that flips the script and makes her feel the void of your absence. When you step back and give her distance, something powerful begins to happen. You're no longer there to fill her emotional gaps, no longer available at her beck and call, and suddenly she's left to sit with her own thoughts. For the first time in a long time, she starts to notice the silence, and silence has a way of amplifying everything we try to ignore. Think about it. When you're constantly present, responding to every text or trying to fix every misunderstanding, you're cushioning her from the natural consequences of her actions. She doesn't get the chance to miss you because you're always right there, filling the space where longing could grow. But when you give her distance, you're no longer cushioning her. The absence becomes tangible, and with that comes the realization of what she might be losing. This shift doesn't happen overnight. At first, she might feel relief. It's human nature to enjoy a bit of space, especially if things were tense. But here's the twist: that relief is temporary. As days go by and your presence fades, she'll start to notice the little things. The good morning text that used to greet her, the way you'd listen when she vented about her day, or even just the comfort of knowing you'd always be there. Slowly but surely, these absences add up, creating a void she can't ignore. The key here is this: you're not giving her distance to play games or manipulate her emotions. You're doing it for yourself. You're reclaiming your time, energy, and focus, and in doing so, you're forcing her to confront the reality of a life without you. And that's where the magic happens. When she starts to feel the absence of your presence, it's no longer just about what you're doing. It's about what she's missing. As she starts to feel the void, something deeper begins to surface: reflection. See, when you're always there, it's easy for her to focus on your actions, what you did, what you didn't do, or how you might have fallen short in her eyes. But in your absence, the spotlight shifts. Now she has to look inward. And she starts replaying the moments you shared, both the good and the bad. The way you made her laugh during mundane conversations, how you supported her when she needed it most, or even the little quirks she once found annoying but now seem oddly endearing. Without you there, her mind begins to fill in the blanks, often painting you in a better light than when you were constantly present. It's human nature to romanticize what we no longer have immediate access to. But here's where it gets interesting. This void doesn't just highlight the positive memories, it also forces her to confront the role she played in the dynamic. Maybe she starts to realize how dismissive she was of your efforts, or how she let small arguments overshadow the bigger picture. Distance has a way of providing clarity, and that clarity can be uncomfortable. At the same time, the distance gives you a chance to reflect too. It's not just about her feeling the void, it's about you rediscovering your own worth outside of the relationship. Often, when we're caught up in the cycle of chasing someone who's pulling away, we lose sight of who we are. By stepping back, you give yourself the breathing room to remember what you bring to the table. And that energy shift? It's powerful. Suddenly, you're not the guy who's always waiting around. You're not the one chasing. You're the one focusing on yourself. And whether she realizes it consciously or not, that changes how she perceives you. It's the paradox of distance. The more you detach, the more magnetic you become. As time stretches on, the void you left begins to transform into a sense of longing. It's no longer just the absence of your presence she feels. It's the absence of your energy, your attention, and the emotional security you provided. Humans are wired to crave connection, and when a meaningful one fades, it's only natural to start questioning its loss. In the beginning, she might rationalize the distance, convincing herself she's better off without the relationship. But over time, those rationalizations often lose their grip. The memories come flooding back: the inside jokes, the way you made her feel seen and understood, the quiet moments of intimacy that no one else can replicate. And here's the kicker: it's not just the big moments she'll miss, it's the small, everyday things. The text you'd send before a meeting, the way you'd remember her favorite coffee order, or the way you'd instinctively know when something was wrong. This isn't about creating a false sense of scarcity. It's about the natural process of realizing the value of something once it's gone. The space you've created gives her room to acknowledge how much of herself was tied to the connection she had with you. And as that void deepens, it forces her to question whether letting you go was the right choice. At the same time, this isn't just about her feelings, it's about how you're showing up in the distance you've created. If you're using this time to sulk or stew in resentment, that energy lingers. But if you're truly investing in yourself, hitting the gym, picking up new hobbies, focusing on your passions, that shift becomes undeniable. People notice when someone is leveling up, and so does she. You've probably heard the phrase, absence makes the heart grow fonder. But it's not the absence alone that does the work. It's what you do during that time. By prioritizing your growth, you're not only filling the void she feels, but you're also reminding her of the version of you she was drawn to in the first place. Except now, you're even better. As the void deepens, emotions she might have buried or ignored begin to resurface. Doubt creeps in, making her wonder if she underestimated your role in her life. She might catch herself scrolling through old messages or photos, replaying conversations in her mind, or even looking for subtle ways to reconnect. It's not uncommon for people in this stage to test the waters. A casual text, a like on your social media post, or a comment that seems harmless but carries an undercurrent of curiosity. This is where your self-control becomes crucial. It's tempting to jump at any sign of interest, to see her small gestures as an opportunity to rush back in. But remember, the power of distance lies in maintaining it until the dynamic truly shifts. If you respond too eagerly, you risk falling back into the same patterns that pushed her away in the first place. Instead, let her reach out, but don't immediately give her what she's looking for. A polite, confident response is enough to let her know you're not bitter, but also that you're not waiting around. By holding your ground, you're not just reinforcing the boundaries you've established, you're allowing her to sit with her emotions. The more she has to work to regain your attention, the more she'll value it. This doesn't mean playing games or being cold, it means respecting yourself enough to let her take the steps necessary to bridge the gap. If she truly feels the void, she'll make an effort, and when she does, it'll carry more weight than if you had been the one to initiate. Meanwhile, this phase is where your personal growth truly shines. The distance you've maintained should be filled with progress, whether it's hitting a new fitness goal, advancing in your career, or simply finding joy in the things that matter most to you. When she reaches out, she shouldn't just see the same person she left behind. She should see someone thriving. And here's the real beauty of it. At this point, whether she comes back or not isn't the ultimate goal. The void she feels is just a reflection of the value you brought into her life, and your growth during this time is proof of your resilience. Whether or not she chooses to fill that void by reconnecting, you've already won. You've reclaimed your power and become the best version of yourself. By now, the dynamic has shifted completely. She's no longer in control of the narrative, you are. The distance you created didn't just make her feel the void, it gave you the clarity to see the situation for what it truly is. And this is where everything changes. When she finally confronts the emptiness left by your absence, she'll realize something crucial. The connection she had with you wasn't just convenient, it was meaningful. Maybe it was the way you supported her dreams, the way you made her laugh on her worst days, or how you genuinely cared about her in ways no one else did. But now she also sees that you're not the same person who once waited around. You're stronger, more confident, and more focused on your own path. This creates a new dynamic. If she truly values you, she'll make the effort to rebuild the connection. She'll reach out, not out of habit or loneliness, but because she recognizes your worth. But if she doesn't, that's okay too, because the person you've become during this process isn't dependent on her validation. You've grown, leveled up, and proven to yourself that you don't need anyone else to complete you. The void she feels isn't just about losing you, it's about realizing the impact you had on her life. And as you move forward, that impact remains, regardless of whether she chooses to come back. This isn't about revenge or manipulation. It's about standing tall in your own value and letting others decide if they're willing to meet you at your level. In the end, when you give her distance, you're not just creating space for her to miss you. You're creating space for yourself to grow. And that growth, it's the ultimate win. And if you found this perspective helpful, be sure to subscribe for more insights like this, or check out the next video to dive even deeper.